Hello guys, welcome back. My name's Nathan and today I have some more allegations to report on Bill Peters, some of the stories that are coming out from the Carolina Hurricanes, and some of the players practically exposing him for the rough stuff he did with the Hurricanes. Now if you don't know, Bill Peters right now is under fire for some of the allegations that were gone against him for using a racial slur. That was yesterday and I had a whole video on that situation, so if you don't know it, I recommend you watch that. But this is a continuation, because after this whole situation, we saw one Carolina Hurricanes player so far, named right now, who has gone against Bill Peters and has shared some really rough stories about him. Now, these new allegations come from Michael Jordan, a former Carolina Hurricanes player. He might be the captain, or at least a former captain of the Charlotte Checkers, their AHL system. Might have to double check on that. You guys let me know. But he was under Bill Peters when Bill Peters was the head coach in Carolina, and he had some choice words to say about him and some of the experiences that he's had with them. And honestly, it's not too pretty. Now, in the first tweet, he says this: "Never wish anything bad to a person, but you get what you deserve, Bill. After years making it to the NHL, had experience with the worst coach ever by far, kicking me and punching other players to the head during the game." And then in the second tweet, he goes on to say this: "During the game, then pretending like nothing happened. Couldn't believe my eyes. What could happen in the best league. Happy that I don't have to go through that stuff on a daily basis anymore." And he's a Czech-born guy, so he obviously has some typos in there. The English isn't exactly perfect, but it's only typos, and we know what he's saying. Michael Jordan saying that he's the worst coach that he's ever played for in the NHL, and maybe even in hockey in general, and saying that he was kicked, he saw players punched in the head. You know, sometimes coaches can go overboard, and sometimes they do get physical, but during the game, kicking and punching people's heads, that's not exactly a tactic that I've seen work in the NHL. It's a bold one, but obviously the wrong one. Now, this next quote comes from James, Account for Hockey, who's basically giving out a transcript of what Elliotte Friedman said this afternoon, and he said this: "Elliotte also notes there are people in hockey who believe this is all overdue and that hockey needs to fix this to get better. Also notes that Michael Jordan's allegations against Bill Peters have been corroborated by multiple sources to him. Not just one, but multiple sources." And these allegations especially seem to have a lot of credibility to them. For at least when it comes to the players going out and saying stuff like this, it's not just them anymore. We saw with the Mike Babcock situation that multiple sources said that everything was true in the article, everything was true about what was said there, and that it all happened. And we saw in the Alou situation just this morning and yesterday night that it's now been backed up by multiple teammates, him saying that racial slur and going that overboard. And now with this situation of Jordan saying these things from the Carolina Hurricanes, there's now multiple people that are confirming this to be true. So it's not just one person in all these stories, they're all multiple people, and they seem to all be real. And we saw a 10 out of 10 beautiful tweet by Sarah Siff of The Athletic that said this: "One Hurricane source said, karma's a B-I-T word." You know, that word. I'm not going to say it on this video, obviously, but that word. Doesn't exactly paint the greatest picture for Bill Peters, and I would say that one Hurricane source is likely a player. I'm not sure if that's a person in management or anything, but I would assume that's a former player as well. So we already got Elliotte Friedman saying multiple reports of sources saying the same thing as Jordan, but now we have one Hurricane source saying that. Yeah, it's not looking too great for Bill Peters right now. Now, going back to the original allegation of saying that he was kicking, that he was punching players in the head, and him as well, that's a pretty serious offense. Now, I can get trying to motivate your players, right? Trying to make players that have been playing bad throughout the game, you know, wake up, right? But punching them, kicking them, is not exactly the way to do it. You might just like kind of give them a love tap or something, or slap them. But with the way that Jordan worded it, it was kicking, it was punching, and everything in between. And there is definitely going to be some people out there that say, "Oh, well, look at this soft player, no, not even taking a kick or a punch." Just ask yourself, why would a coach be kicking, punching people's helmets? Especially with how much research has gone on to concussion history and how anything can affect these players. Why would any rational person kick and punch their players to try and get through them? That's not how a good coach works. That's not how a coach that wants to communicate really does it. You don't punch and kick and expect results. It was a dumb move, a terrible move, and one that is pretty much confirmed to have happened in Carolina. And to be honest, I think guys like Michael Jordan are the opposite of soft. They had all these stories about guys like Bill Peters that they had to keep, because if they didn't, they might not ever have a shot at the NHL again. And Jordan only played about 70 NHL games. He wasn't an NHL dynamo. And with some of the stories like that, he might have never even touched an NHL game after that if he spoke out against Bill Peters and actually give him crap for it. That's the thing right now. You might sit there bagging on a guy like Bill Peters because he has all these allegations now, but players are finally feeling safe to actually feel their thoughts out there. They're actually giving their thoughts about situations that they thought were unfair, which should be justified and should be accepted. And you can see in the 2 tweets that Michael Jordan gave out, especially in that second one where he says, pretending like nothing happened, couldn't believe my eyes what can happen in the best league. He was stunned that that was happening. He was absolutely bamboozled that stuff like that was happening on his own bench, on his own team. And he never had the guts at that point to speak up, but even now, it should be awarded that he's speaking up. It should be encouraged, because stuff like this, punching and kicking the head, yeah, maybe it's fine on the ice, but when you're a head coach, you can't do that stuff. And that is the problem here. You can't go around doing stuff like that and expect to get away with it. And now coaches like Bill Peters aren't getting away with it for probably the first time in NHL history, which is amazing and once again should be encouraged. And the thing is, just like I said with the Mike Babcock situation, it's fine to go hard on your players, it's fine to have high expectations and want the best out of them, but with the way that both Mike Babcock and Bill Peters did it, it might just end up costing both of them their jobs. Mike Babcock is already gone, and Bill Peters might be the next one right now. Of course, with Bill Peters, it was more physical abuse, while you could give the argument that Babcock was 100% totally mentally abusing Mitch Marner, which I somewhat agree with. But in this whole situation, these coaches that are doing stuff that is harming players in that spot and after their pro careers, it's something that should be called out. And right now we are finally seeing those stories come up. Elliotte Friedman also went on to say that he doesn't think that Bill Peters will continue as the Calgary Flames coach, which I think makes a lot of sense, because right now it's pretty much just being held up by labor lawyers, seeing if they can actually get away with firing Bill Peters without getting in some legal trouble. That's basically the only thing that's holding Bill Peters back from not being the Calgary Flames coach right now. And I think once everything gets settled, once everything just gets settled in court and everything like that, all the legal stuff gets behind, I don't think Bill Peters will touch the Calgary Flames organization for a very, very long time. And I think that's how it should be. With all this stuff that's coming out, again, as I said in my last video about this situation, I don't think it's going to be a last. Even after it was pretty much like an hour after I released that last video on Bill Peters, we saw the quotes of Jordan and everything there. So I don't think it'll be the last things here. Again, these stories always continue to evolve, and we likely will see some more stories of Bill Peters as we did with Mike Babcock a couple of days ago. But with this video, I need to hear y'all's thoughts down those comments down below. So let me know what you think about this whole Bill Peters situation. What do you think about the original situation with him with the racial slur, and also this now of him punching, kicking players on the bench, at what you think of it as well. But with this video, I would recommend you go on and click on this video right here, where I discuss the whole Mike Babcock situation and him betraying Mitch Marner. But that'll be it for today, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and that notification bell if you haven't already. Again, comment down below your thoughts on this whole Bill Peters situation and what you think of it right now. Share this video with your friends as well. Get the truth out there, boys, because the truth is finally coming out. I'm Nathan, and I'll see you all in the next video or stream. Goodbye.